Why do I do this?
And we will stop you. Your mother.
I'd appreciate you stop tarnishing my reputation. Fuck your reputation. Centipedes are
No,
without a
this
doubt
isn't
one of the most
default.
terrifying builds in the entire game. They're also one of the oldest. They're part of an ancient lineage called Myriapods, which were the first builds to ever unlock the ability to breathe air, way back during the Silurian expansion. Their many legs and venomous fangs make for a fearsome display for any player looking to challenge them in combat. But has their ancient strategy held up in the face of the immense power creep the game has seen? Is having dozens upon dozens of legs much of an improvement over just having a few? Let's take a closer look at the stats and abilities of centipedes and millipedes, and ultimately decide where they fall on the tier list. First, let's take a look at their stats and abilities, and for this section, we'll show both the centipede and millipede base stats. Both centipedes and millipedes have solid defensive stats. They're both part of the arthropod faction and inherit the exoskeletal armor perk, granting them dramatically higher base defense compared to similarly sized soft-bodied invertebrates, such as slugs or velvet worms. Their chitinous exoskeleton can reflect the most basic attacks from players at or below their weight level. There is a meaningful difference between the two on this front, though. Millipedes belong in articulated plates, with essentially zero gaps in their armor, other than the underside where all the leg joints are. Centipedes, on the other hand, have gaps in their armor, particularly in the segments on their side, legs. Unlike millipedes, which have their leg joints attached on their underside, centipede leg joints are located on the side of the centipede, making these weak points much more difficult. This results in a much higher defense stat for millipedes, but the trade-off is pretty obvious when you look at their other major difference, their mobility stat. Millipedes have a speed stat that is only slightly higher than that of a snail, which is incredibly low given that snails don't even have legs. Centipedes, with their less restrictive armor, are some of the quickest moving arthropods in the game, able to quickly weave in and around cover and scale walls in record time. Their quick and twitchy movement means that
Born of ice and frost, all hail! Thrust scatter! Lend me a hand! Steady as steel, as a dutiful maid would. Starball! No touching!
Attempting to lock down their defenses even more tightly than they already are, in hopes that the aggressive player will simply give up. Looking to evolve in order to guard their already small number of weaknesses, and may also begin secreting noxious and or toxic chemicals to dissuade persistent predators from risking poison damage. Centipedes may attempt to curl and take some hits, but more often than not, they'll opt to either flee or rely on a powerful offense to substitute their lackluster defense. The centipede's jaws, which are really their two front legs, have been modified into hypodermic daggers, able to pierce armor and
Shade!
devastate and
Drop!
the rest of their steps are bracing.
Born of ice and frost. I must leave no stone unturned. Time to clean up.
Enough to beat the player's passive perception as long as they remain motionless. But the centipedes and millipedes and subjects
Glaze over.
well.
Access denied.
One of the stealth placing
I am the cutting edge of fashion.
and as very ancestral artifacts, it's no surprise their intelligence stats quite low, as they were introduced to the game during the time of intelligence, promoting violence, to refine their core strategy, rather than reset into a high intelligence build. Unfortunately, this blocks them out of the higher level perception curves like my vision and eyes, forcing them to rely on its basic option for protecting enemies, like single eyes, chemoreception, and tremor sense. As far as other unique abilities go, myriapods don't have all that. This is a little unfair because the first natural their most important ability was their ability to fight. However, as Meta has progressed, air breathing has become one of the most common abilities. Myriapods, much less obsolete. One other special ability is auto breathing. It's quite difficult to tell when they land which end of the centipede in the head. The back end also looks almost identical. In fact, in some ways, the back end functions as it also has highly sensitive structures similar to antennae. So this matter is that the best way to stay
Next on the agenda, Born of Ice and Frost, for Rex Lapis. Ha! Starball! Leave it all to me, as a dutiful maid would.
Those are the big stats. These traits actually stack up against them. While their stats seem solid at first glance, power creeps really expansion after expansion. Devs have expanded access to myriapods formerly introduced abilities, and use new abilities to the game, which function as counterplay options against the centipede abilities, allowing newer builds to more efficiently exploit their weaknesses. For example, the introduction of the beak attribute dramatically improves the bird builds matching against centipedes, as the disjointed hitbox makes the risk of a counterattack less of a concern. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Suppose to discuss the centipede. The centipede's life is one of the strongest in swing parts, enough to make some snake mates jealous. Compared against the power of a scorpion's sting, life has higher raw damage and armor piercing, but weaker than. By itself, this makes it one of the most formidable attacking units in the entire arthropod collection. So with that in mind, the viability of the centipede comes down to how reliable the rest of the centipede's gameplay is at enabling the use of this vicious attack. Fortunately, this is where the cracks start to show this ancient build's game. Because if it connects, the damage it deals is devastating, but landing a strike with the centipede's bite is easier said than done. For starters, while the centipede's base movement speed is quite solid, it lacks the surprise burst mobility others rely on. The centipede just sort of scurry around, hoping that they'll eventually come to the player off guard. But as long as you remain vigilant, centipede attacks are about as predictable and telegraphed. Centipedes have pretty low stealth, and no attempts to conceal themselves as they approach a target. So as long as your character's passive perception is halfway decent, you should have plenty of opportunity to react and escape before they get strike. Their poor vision also undermines their ability to pursue prey as they flee, capability of speed and chasing them down. Mistake players' common mistake is attempting to snap them down like an off, rather than stay out. In addition to their lack of ability to ambush, centipedes also have such a low intelligence stat, fairly rudimentary stealth tactics. Things like basic camouflage and hiding behind crushing cover are highly effective against them. Cause an aggressive centipede, you miss their opportunity to attack.
Stop right there!
It's worth noting that one subclass of centipedes does have the compound iceberg, also sports higher base movement speed.
Teamwork is dreamwork! Shine down! Now you shall perish!
Damage output and defense units, and most of this prey on low-tier insects like silverfish and crickets. Even in their own niche of rush-down arthropods, centipedes have been powerful, also known as the sun spider or camel spider, which is significantly faster on foot, and although it is immense, the raw damage sustained absolutely shreds them. The sun spider definitely deserves its video, so I'll save further analysis for it. Switching over to millipedes is still on the way to fare a bit better. Millipedes are highly resistant to enemy attacks, there's no denying it. Two builds in the game are better equipped to tank a ton of hits from an onslaught of attackers. However, millipedes' main method of fighting toxic. It's pretty underwhelming. Doesn't feel guaranteed.
At ease. I don't believe this counts as theft.
So these types of toxins tend to be against the word and odor.
Lol.
If millipedes can expand to a more potent defense, similar to a bombardier field, it might be a bit more dangerous.
There you are.
As it stands, a small amount of poison packing cheaper crit. The millipedes armor easy. Its weakness at least doesn't indicate like bomber and jack. As even if they're just as terrible as the centipedes, first, suck. This doesn't stop it until we find the boss and detritus that we can live on. In addition, some millipedes do opt for a different style of personally,
Ooh, will we find any firework materials in here?
whereas rodents are much better against other arguments. So while we don't have counterplay, millipedes have options to adapt. One big area I think both centipedes and millipedes are improving is hidden areas of their abundance of legs. For example, two modified legs. Their front legs
Up and away!
and their back legs, like to a tentacle. And still leaves several dozen other legs, probably afford to convert into more useful appendages. Having similar jaw-like legs on their back end would synergize well with their auto-mimicry input, and make it so that there's no enemy safe. And for the millipede, although they aren't as combat-focused, I think they would still benefit expanding into some other utility options, like, for example, fossorial legs to allow them to dig underground. They have a lot of options, but right now, I genuinely think that myriapods are barely managing to do with dozens of legs what most arthropods do with only a few. Ultimately, I do think both builds have been massively power-packed, not justify putting them any higher than the low tiers. Terrifying as a centipede can be, I actually think it fares even worse than the scorpion, given how simple and easily countered the impact is once you know. They're going firmly in F2. Millipedes do fare better for sure, as their tanky, toxic defensive strategy is tricky to overcome. But with the right strategy or with a significant size advantage, millipedes present very little challenge. In addition, poisonous millipedes suffer from their own success in that some higher intelligence builds, like lemurs and monkeys, actually deliberately trigger their toxic defense ability, then rub the toxin on their fur to gain a temporary bug repellent buff, before either discarding or eating the millipede. So, while I think you could definitely make the argument that they at least make it out of F tier and belong in D tier, I don't think they belong any higher than that. Whether you want to play as a fast-moving damage dealer or a slow toxic tank, there are much better options available to you than centipedes will. Myriapods simply have too many gaps in their defense, both in their physical armor and their game plan overall. You can be as careful as possible, but if your defenses have obvious exploits, you'll always be vulnerable. This is true not just for survival in wilderness, but also for your personal data online. If you find yourself constantly barraged with spam emails, uncomfortably precise advertisements, and other predatory marketing tactics, this is most likely because your shields are already down and data broker companies have you dead to rights. Your personal information is up for sale to whoever wants to use it. But fear not, for there is a way you can adapt your defenses to close this weakness. Well, okay, there are actually two ways. The first is you personally contact every single one of these companies yourself and request to opt out of their data collection lists. But this is unrealistic for most people, given the time investment. But the second way, the more optimal way, is to use today's sponsor, Incognito, right off the state brokers for you. Here's how it works. You make an account, grant Incognito permission to defend your data privacy, and then just relax and watch the number of lists your data is on drop to zero. That's it. You'll quickly find that you aren't just on a bunch of corporate lists that you're too lazy to unsubscribe from. On open data markets, your personal information and browsing history are products to be bought, which is especially concerning once you realize that insurance companies buy this information in order to raise your premiums. If you subscribe to Incognito, all of that goes away. Your name is scrubbed from every data book that can be, and Incognito keeps its guard up so that it never ends up back on its lists again. So if the privacy is important, then you can click on the link in the description, incognito.com/news, It helps support your channel, but also with discount 60% off. So check it out, check your data, and support my work in the process. Thanks again to Incogni for sponsoring, and as always, good luck out there.
Seems like the stories here never have happened.
Today I'm going to give you 15 vitally important Genshin Impact tips and tricks. These are going to help you enjoy the game, save you time, and maybe even save you money. At the end of the video, let me know which were helpful, and give me your best tips in the comments so that everyone can benefit from those as well. Welcome to Jello Impact, where we build and test every single character to help you decide on which form to go. I am so excited to announce that I'll be participating in Galaxy Battles of Genshin Impact, powered by Samsung Galaxy. Thank you to Samsung Galaxy for sponsoring this video. We'll be competing for a prize pool of Galaxy devices that you, my community, will have a chance to win your favorite creators. I Win to Lose Gaming, MTash, Doro44, Zijaf77, Dish, and many, many more will be battling it out on April 21st at 12 PM PST, and you can watch it all go down live right here on this channel, so make sure you're subscribed for that. In a previous competition round, I Win to Lose beat me for first place with 1 frog, so I have to get back at it in the final. We'll all be playing on the brand new Samsung Galaxy S21 Ultra, which has incredible Galaxy AI tools like Generative Edit with Galaxy AI, which allows you to move objects just like this and more directly within your phone. It also features this stunning QHD Plus screen and a Snapdragon 8 Gen processor for Galaxy. I've also turned on the Game Booster mode to performance so that I can get a jump on the competition. Once again, we'll all be competing live using this device on April 21st, 12 PM Pacific Standard Time. So make sure to join us there and check out the new Samsung Galaxy S24 Ultra so that you can hit pros. Starting with the first category, 5 tips for character wishing. And I know you've heard this a million bajillion times, but you've gotta get your favorites. That is tip number 1. I've built every single character in Genshin, and there are definitely some that I enjoy being. So if your favorite character is Raiden, you gotta get it. But not only that, tip 1 is get your favorite characters and their best supports. Because if you have their best supports,
There better not be any contraband in here.
Make different teams for them, and I encourage you to try, even if you don't like certain characters, if they're really good supports or your favorite, maybe give them a try anyways. It is very rewarding to make your favorites shine. Tip number 2, I highly recommend you prioritize 5-star characters over 4-star characters. Now, this will sound unintuitive at first, but oftentimes 4-star characters will rely on high constellations to be very effective, and targeting an account is completely random and almost guaranteed. So if there's an alternative to a 4-star character recommendation, it's often a lot better to shoot down that character because you can actually see them than to spend hundreds of wishes going for high scores of characters never guaranteed. If you are going to go for 4-star treatments, sometimes teams such as Charuz or Farzan have supports for some of your favorites. I highly recommend sticking to just 1 or 2 4-stars ever to really focus in on, and even though I always
Take them. I have no
5-stars with the 4-stars, my biggest recommendation is to just get a great solid foundation with 5-stars, because if you have the 5-star supports, you
There is no escape.
And that's for point number 3. I recommend you get the top tier vanilla supports, namely being Rubina, Nandita, Kazuha, and arguably Devon. Coupled with your and for free and favorites, this should allow you to clear all the content of the game as long as you will continue to directly.
Let's light it up! Shine down! You asked for it! Drop your weapons!
Number 4.
Feel the flame!
Some really good constellations or 5-star weapons or your favorite characters. One people say just get more and more characters, and for some people that can be fun. I love building characters.
Final warning!
That way. And, however, due to resource strain and due to you probably not enjoying all of the characters, I bet most people have more characters like eventually. And while there is an argument on
Impossible.
constellations
It's a Typical.
weapons for your favorite character, as it can make the game less of a challenge. For those who want to make their favorite character shine, smart vertical investment, such as weapon or early constellations, is a really good idea for most players once you have your favorites and your tools. My 5th tip for character fishing is to stay away from the pop-up section. Stick to the blessing of the book. And if you want to make your gameplay experience just a little bit smoother, strength
Stop right there.
But beyond these two things, I personally believe that the rest of the top-ups are not good value, and for most people who are hurt your enjoyment of the game more than help them. Remember that although the characters are limited time, they will always come back. And I just think that there's enough speed resources and low spending resources if you decide to go for that you can get most, if not all, the characters you want without spending any, or at least without spending very much. Then we're on to 5 tips for the overworld and general gameplay. And my number 1 tip is for every single region to max out your reputation points. As you increase your reputation level, every region gives you great stuff that's very useful for exploration and filling out the map. Very, very important. And once you finish getting all this stuff, you want to keep doing your reputation, as bounties and requests add up to a lot of free aura that you collect every single week. Number 2 is don't forget to actually use those resources you get, such as the crystal fly trap.
See, this is why I always bring a bow.
If you feed in useless resources, then you get out of it very, very useful resources. Do not forget about the teapot, as you get very important resin, talent books, and aura for free every single week. Gotcha. Also, do not forget that Dust of Azoth is available in the shop for a very cheap price, essentially for most people, preventing them from having to ever farm for gems, as you can simply use a small amount of this dust to convert one element. My 3rd tip for the overworld and general gameplay is to pick your poison utilizing the Genshin interactive map, or by utilizing the different treasure compasses and the Octolite finder. Personally, I'm a bit of an immersion junkie and a bit less of a completionist.
Why do I
So
suck?
I would rather have fun just sort of enjoying the game and enjoying the vibes, and not have my immersion broken by going to the interactive map and being told exactly where everything is. But it is an absolute fantastic tool, so you can take a pick. You can take your pick as to which one you want to go for, but just make sure you know that these tools are available to help finding Octolite, finding chests, and doing everything easier than just wandering around the map. My next tip video will is get yourself on Shenyan, Kazuha, or Wanderer. Any combination of these 4, at least 1 of 3 of Wanderer. I mean, really, ideally 2 of 3 of Wanderer, Yelan, and Shenyan. Consider going for C1 or Yelan or C1 Shenyan, just because these characters make exploration so much easier and so much more fun. With C1 Yelan and C1 Shenyan, I essentially never have to run normally, ever. I can always have one of these characters available.
Will we find any firework materials in
I
here?
think that I would actually choose Shenyan, as Yelan will often get stuck on rocks. Whereas Shenyan can simply jumble. And she also doubles as a vertical exploration character. So if I were to choose one out of all 4 of these characters to get, I would get Shenyan C1 as the MVP for overworld exploration, although I know some people die and swear that Wanderer is the best, as he also has vertical and horizontal, but I feel like these characters offer a little bit more. Maybe it's because I have C1. And also, I highly recommend Kazuha because as you defeat enemies, the drops actually move up, and so you can collect them without having to run all over the place. In addition, his vertical is pretty darn good, and he never leaves my overworld team for that reason. These are combustibles, you know, you can do whatever you want if you don't want to get these characters, you don't have to. But this is just my tip for exploring the overworld, in that by having some of these characters and by being able to explore with them, it just takes any sort of pain there was. It's essentially that you have permanent mounts now. Maybe get your live mounts in the future, and then this device will be useless, and you can reduce the glitches on this. In which case,
Doubtful.
I'm sorry, but at least for now, in the current state of Genshin Impact, this is something I recommend if you feel like kind of bogged down by traversing the overworld. If you don't feel bogged down by traversing the overworld, then forget it. My final overworld tip is save your certain pieces, save your instructor pieces, save your
The game's almost at the end of its
save
main
those for later,
story.
lock them,
At
save
the
them
very
for
least,
later,
it's
and check out
halfway
my
through,
guides
at
out there,
most.
artifact guides for how to actually use them. But if you are in there in the game, consider using the certain
I know gacha games don't end when their main story ends. I mean, Honkai Impact 3rd is still going.
Well, for these last two, once they get to endgame, they will fall off.
They have every incentive to keep churning out new content rather than put the game on lifeline.
Moving on to 5 tips for pitching team building. Number 1, build 2 to 4 of favorite teams based on those favorite characters that you got and those best supports that you want to support them. Out of these 2 to 4 teams, I recommend zero in on a couple things. This is tip 2. But make sure you have a team that deals well in
C6!
Make sure you have a
C6!
team yourself, and make sure you have some type checks. A good rule of thumb is having one character built per element that actually applies that element damage. So Ben and Kazuha provides a lot of Pyro, Navia, Chiori, Zhongli provide Geo, although I would say Geo is not necessary. There's lots of great Hydro for Rina, Yalan, Neuvillette, Ayato, Xingqiu, Close for Geo. There's also 4-star options like Ningguang, Yujin that apply enough Geo
How's this?
checks. Nahia is basically your go-to for Dendro, Fischl, or for Electro, although there's lots.
Oh god, it's a quest.
For AoE, for Anemo. Anemo isn't an element, but Cosmo is very highly recommended. Having a variety of characters built up that do different types
It's gonna be a long 4-hour quest.
Elemental shields and checks are going to do this. Keep in mind that just because you have a character of a type, such as Eula, that doesn't mean she'll deal a lot of cryo damage. Eula and Chi-Chi don't apply a whole lot of cryo, so they won't even be that useful. And I didn't even mention cryo because at this stage of the game, having the cryo element isn't as important as it once was, although the Chen Yu Vale boss really loves to be frozen, or it hates to be frozen. It's good to be able to freeze it, so cryo characters have a bit of combat. Tip number 3 for team building is build towards the combat you're fighting. Building teams in the overworld is very different from building this. This is my I will sacrifice a lot of damage to make sure that I have lots of characters that are great for the overworld. But of course, I'm looking for a certain regional specialty. I'll switch out Yanfei. If I'm fighting weekly bosses, I'll often have a completely different team for that. Even overworld bosses, I have a completely team for each boss that I end up fighting. For every different region of the Abyss, there's completely different teams that I'll end up using. If you're having trouble with a certain type of content or you want tips on how to build towards it, maybe consider joining our Discord. And if it is the Abyss, for every single new Abyss reset, I do a first impression video and follow it up with a meta review video that talks about more in depth. Point number 4 for team building is level efficiently to maximize your character strengths. HP scalers level 90. Most DPS characters that are your main DPS will want to go to level 90 eventually, but HP scalers, Anemo characters, especially when they're based on Swirl, Dendro characters when they're dealing Dendro damage, Hydro characters, Electro characters have to do Dendro reactions. These are characters that should be prioritized towards level 90. Whereas normal attack scaling damage dealers, it isn't as much of a priority. Weapons that focus on dealing damage should be level 90. Make sure you use the proper talent priority. Save resources by using talents, leaving talents at a lower level when talents don't matter as much. Same with weapon levels that don't matter as much. Sometimes you can get away with less resource spend. And I highly recommend focusing on one team first, then a second, then some additional characters to switch those teams up. Don't try and build an absolute ton of characters all at once. That's going to take forever, and you're going to feel like you're progressing very, very slowly. Number 5, farm artifacts. The general tip is to farm. If you have Farina, the new artifact domain is a great one to farm. The gilded domain is also extremely efficient, often necessary, and Emblem continues to be a very important artifact set to either Strongbox or launch Okinawa, which at least has a so as a general tip, you want to pick one of those 3 artifact domains and be efficient that way, but it's better to tailor it to your account specifically, and that's why I made a whole artifact guide video that's going to be right here, and really all the whole artifact playlist, because artifacts is an opportunity. Want to start delving into it, check out that right there, and then check out the next video, the Artifact Secrets, which is
Thank you for completing.
Artifact. Realistically, you also need tips for combat, so this video is well, make sure you check both of them out when you're ready to take your account to the next level. Let me know if you learned anything. Let me know your biggest tips in the comments. Take care.
I just made this team and I have used it quite recently. The two teams I have been quite ignoring. Just my Eula team and my Rose Punch team. Both of which are physical based. Even Yanfei got a bit more love.
I've created what is possibly the stupidest bot to ever play Mario Party. All it knows how to do is completely random inputs with no logic at all. Its name? Randy. And today we'll be seeing how many Mario Party Superstars minigames Randy can win, starting with Mushroom Mix-Up. Now for some minigames like this one, while it's technically possible for Randy to win, it's so improbable that we never see it happen in our lifetime, so I'm going to mark this one as not possible. Similar story with Bombs Away. Tiny wobbling islands do not go well with random inputs. Alright, Randy, now pay close attention. Make sure you... Okay, let's try that again. Wow, bold strategy. Guessing before he even puts up the flag. You know, I think Randy might actually be a psychic. Okay, Crazy Cutters time. What are the odds Randy gets a perfect score here? Not very high. This one might be possible if Randy can go Ultra Instincts mode, but it looks like he's going stuck in the bottom right corner mode instead. After many tries, I'm gonna call this one impossible. The good news about Dizzy Dancing is that reverse controls have no effect on Randy. The bad news is, I don't think he knows what he's supposed to be doing. I was about to call this one impossible, but then Randy locked in and earned a big win with a high score of 1. Hey, we'll take that. Alright, let's see how Bumper Balls goes. Okay, that went about as expected, but let's give him a chance on the other two stages. Maybe he'll surprise us.
Seize the skies!
Okay, Randy, you got this one. All you need to do is jump. Popping straight into a heated tank battle now. Looks like Daisy is targeting Mario, Yoshi is targeting Daisy, and Randy is targeting a fence. You know, everyone has their own strategy in this game, and it looks like it worked out, because everyone is a winner. Okay, bold strategy by Randy here, keeping his balloon very exposed. Let's see how that plays out. After a few more attempts, though, he finally realized he's actually supposed to use the spiky side of his card. Over to Sneak and Snore, where Randy is surprisingly good at not being caught by the Chain Chomp. But at the pace he's going, there's just not enough time for him to make a full escape. So even when he's the last one remaining, the game still ends in a tie. But for that, I will award Randy a half of a point.
Accidentally
So for this one, Randy,
switched with the wrong character.
what you do is push A and B at
Damn
the
it.
same time. I don't think he's quite figured that out yet. For a race now, let's hop right in. Okay, a little too eager there, but oh my goodness, look at Randy go! He's zooming! Yeah, that's gonna be an easy win.
Cloud converge!
Ooh, Bowser's Big Blast. As you probably know, this minigame is literally all random blind luck, so that means Randy should be great at this. Okay, regardless, this one is obviously possible. Ooh, yeah, this one's gonna be tough. I may have forgotten to teach Randy how to count. That's a good guess, Randy. Nice try. Honeycomb Havoc is kind of similar to Bowser's Big Blast, but this one actually has some strategy and math involved, neither of which are Randy's strong suits. But this one is definitely possible to win, especially if your opponents willingly choose to have beehives fall on their heads. onto Snowball Summit now, and I don't think Randy understands how to make a snowball.
Gotcha.
He does understand how to walk off of a mountaintop
Game's up.
though.
Fun's over.
Ice Rink Risk surprisingly proved to be an easy one for Randy. Look at him dodging shells out there like an absolute champ. Okay, let's see how Bounce and Trounce goes. Over to Storm Chasers, where Randy is out here dodging the rain like his life depends on it. This one might be possible, but after many attempts, the best Randy ever placed is third, so I'm gonna mark this as a no. Alright, Mushroom also might be possible if Randy is able to steal one of these big mushrooms. Okay, yeah, I ran this game a bunch of times, and that was literally the only time Randy even got the mushroom, so... Ooh, yeah, this one is not gonna end well. It looks like Randy's still trying to swim while he's inside the fish, though, and for that, he's rewarded with a tie. Now for Chip Shot Challenge, the goal is to get the ball as close to the hole as possible, so let's see how Randy does. Right. But what's that saying? Even a broken clock is right twice a day? Well, Randy is the best broken clock I've ever seen, because after just a few tries, he was able to come away with the victory. Let's see if Randy's driving skills translate to horse racing.
Skyward! Seize the sky!
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say they don't. Okay, Randy, I believe in you. Just take a close look here and try to memorize where all of these go. You got this. Oh, nope. That one actually stays there. Okay, yeah, this one is looking impossible. Wait, what? So if Crazy Cutters was any indication, I don't foresee this one going well for Randy either. But let's give him a chance. You never know. Okay, yeah. Bookswarm is another one that might technically be possible, but after running this one and swishing Randy way too many times, the most pages he ever made it past was, 1. Okay, Paths of Peril. Good thing we've got Randy here to, inspect the safety of these fences. Also, yes, this one is definitely not possible. Randy out here, taking a lot of strikes. Yeah, this one's also not possible. Alright, Leaf Leap. And, oh, nice start, Randy. Keep it going. Or, you know, stay on that leaf for a while. That's cool, too. Okay, Randy, in this one, you need to dodge the penguins. That is not what I meant. Randy out here on Coney Island looking absolutely terrified of ice cream.
I think I want to change this. I don't particularly care about Ningguang. Anyhow.
On to Bill Blasters, where it looks like Randy's a little confused about what he's supposed to be shooting at, but after some
I have no
practice
other
and
ideas
a
for
little
teams.
patience,
I'll
he's
think
starting to
about
get
it
the hang
later.
of it. Okay, Nightlight Fright. Let's see how this one goes. I think the last game may have made Randy a little bit trigger happy, but, you know, sometimes just pulling the trigger is good enough. Alright, time for another race. Here we go. Randy, you know the race started, right? I mean, very kind of you to give everyone a one-lap handicap, but I hate to break it to you, you're really not a good enough skater to make up that ground. Over to catch you letter where Randy actually picks up a letter pretty quickly, but again, he seems a bit confused about what to do with it. But, you know, Shydeck also runs around randomly though, so they have this sort of natural connection that's good enough to make this one possible. Alright, Randy, for this one, you want to catch as many Koopas as you... Okay, let's try that again. There we go, that's much better. Over to What Goes Up, and oh, nice job, Randy. I didn't think you could make it up here. Oh, well, okay. Alright, snowboarding time. Let's see that spin. Taking a page out of Luigi's book, I see. Okay, this one is going to be tough. I think Randy might actually enjoy being underground. But let's see how he did. So close. On to the final countdown. Let's go ahead and count down the seconds before Randy One. Alright, Randy, let's see those hammering skills. Okay, Randy, for this one,
Literally don't know where any other than
see, Yoshi
Drobium
just
is.
found the correct door literally right next to you. Okay. Oh no, not another